next practice problem says at the beginning of the year, the company estimated their production overhead at 450, estimated their activity at 2,000 hours a year. During the year, they produced 80 music videos requiring 2,100 hours and incurred actual production overhead of 476,700. They want to know what the predetermined overhead rate for the year is. So again, for overhead rate, you simply want to take your estimated overhead and divide it by your estimated activity level. So it tells you that we estimate to have 450,000 of overhead. We estimate to have 2,000 hours. So that's going to give you a rate of $225 per hour. And that's the answer for this particular problem. However, I never feel that it's a bad thing to continue using the same data to answer more questions. If it had asked for the applied overhead, then to come up with applied overhead, remember that's going to be your overhead rate times your times your actual activity level. So here your rate is 225, and we actually had 2,100 hours. So that would give you applied overhead of 472,500. If it was asking for over or under applied, then you want to take the difference between the actual 476,700 and what the applied overhead amount was. So that's going to give you a difference of 4,200, and the 476,700 is what it actually was. The 472,500 was what we applied. We did not put enough cost, okay, so our applied cost is less than the actual. Therefore, we under applied the overhead. In order to fix it, you're going to add the under-applied overhead amount to cost of goods sold. So that's your fix. So this basically goes through everything that you need to make sure you know how to do from Chapter 5 with regards to the overhead. Question number 10 says that during the year, actual production cost of $1,234,000. We used a job order costing system that applied overhead of $1,432,000 for the year to the work in process. An adjustment should be made to the cost of goods sold for. So again, this is just asking for the very last piece. So for the fix, if you will. So to do that, you want to calculate over or under applied amount. So to do that, we want to take the actual cost of $1,234,000 and the applied. So that's going to give you a difference of $198,000. So the 1.2 is what is actual and correct. The 1.4 is what we applied. So basically we put too much cost in work in process. So we gave too much cost of work in process. Too much cost went to finished goods, and too much cost ended up in cost of goods sold. So the fix for that is we are going to subtract the over-applied overhead to cost of goods sold. So if cost of goods sold, it doesn't give us the amount, but basically you just want to make sure you know how to fix it. So if you have over-applied, then you want to subtract the over-applied amount to cost of goods sold. And then the very last practice problem just says, when raw materials are used in production, which of the following accounts is typically increased? So again, this is just making sure that you understand the cost flow. So if we have a beginning balance in raw materials, you add what you purchase, you subtract what you used, and the amount of materials you used is going to go over to the factory for the production. So that means that it's going to transfer to work in process.